Picture the guy 2 desks over pulling into the lot in a truck he financed 9 days ago, already talking about the next upgrade before this one is paid off, while you park the same car you drove in college and never once explain why you are still driving it. Today you are going to learn about the freeze point, the exact moment your income goes up and you decide, without ever noticing you are deciding, whether your life quietly rises to meet it. Almost everyone gets that moment wrong, and the cost does not show up for years. Stay to the end, because by then you will know exactly which side of that moment you are standing on right now, and whether the last raise you got already cost you something you have not noticed yet. His name is Marcus. Nobody at that office would guess it, but he is the richest person in the building by a distance nobody there could imagine. He drives a car with 80,000 miles on it and packs his own lunch. And the two things people quietly assume about him, that he never treats himself and that he is probably just getting by, are both wrong in exactly the same direction. Marcus is not cheap. Marcus made one decision a long time ago and simply never unmade it. And that one decision is worth more than every promotion he has politely turned down since. Here is the decision, stated as plainly as it deserves. Every time his income went up, his life stayed exactly where it was. Most people do the opposite without ever choosing to. The raise lands and the car gets a little nicer. The bonus hits and the apartment gets a little bigger. The promotion arrives and the old furniture suddenly looks shabby. The old phone feels embarrassing. The old life feels too small for the new title. Marcus watched this happen to nearly everyone he has ever worked with, and early on he made a strange call. When the number in his account went up, the number he let himself spend would not follow it. He would keep living like the version of himself who earned less, and he would let the space between what came in and what went out get a little wider every year. That space is what does the actual work, not the raise, not the title, the space. Whitfield Money calls that space the gap discipline. And the freeze point is simply the moment you either protect it or let it close without noticing you made a choice at all. Here is the part that turns this from a spending habit into something closer to a trap. Every fixed payment you take on is a piece of leverage you hand to whoever signs your paycheck. The bigger the lease, the mortgage, the monthly minimums, the less real freedom you have to say no to a bad boss, a bad year, or a bad decision at the top of the company. Because your bills do not care how you feel about your job, they just need to be paid on the first of the month. Whitfield Money calls that the compliance overhead, and it is the quiet reason so many people who look successful cannot actually afford to quit anything. Watch what the opposite of the gap discipline costs someone in real time. There is a guy Marcus used to work with, Tyler, who is smart, funny, and has been financially the same distance behind for a decade without ever noticing the pattern. Tyler waited 4 years for a promotion, and when it finally came through, it added about $1,200 a month to his paycheck. He earned every bit of it, and the night he got the news, he felt, for the first time in a long time, like he could finally breathe. So he let himself breathe. A nicer lease, because he had earned it. A better phone. 2 subscriptions he meant to cancel and never did. None of it reckless on its own, all of it reasonable. Within about 4 months, the $1,200 was simply gone, dissolved into a life that felt normal the second he reached it. Here is the part nobody warned Tyler about. He was not happier. The promotion he wanted for 4 years bought him the exact same Sunday night dread, just at a slightly higher altitude. Now picture the version of Tyler who did nothing different. Same apartment, same car, same coffee. He takes that $1,200 a month and feeds it quietly into an ordinary index fund and forgets it exists. At an average market return, over 25 years, that single boring choice is worth somewhere close to $700,000. Not from a lucky bet, from a raise he already earned and simply chose not to feel. That is the entire tragedy of lifestyle creep, and it almost never feels like a tragedy while it is happening. It feels like finally living. The loudest place this shows up is the parking lot, because the car is the one thing the whole world can see without ever asking. Marcus's manager leases a new truck every 3 years for around $700 a month, and he will be making a payment on something until the day he retires, because there is always a next lease waiting. To everyone in that lot, the manager is the one who made it, and Marcus is the one still figuring things out. Run the actual math, and the picture flips completely. Marcus bought a reliable used car for $14,000 and has driven it for 9 years. The difference between his monthly cost and his manager's, call it $500, went straight into the market instead of into a machine that starts losing value the moment it leaves the lot. From 25 to 65, at an ordinary rate of return, that one unglamorous swap is worth well over $1 million. Same parking lot, two completely different futures, and the one that looks like winning is the one quietly losing. If any of this is landing so far, a like on this video actually helps more than you would think. It is the only signal that tells this to keep finding the people it is actually for. None of this means Marcus never spends money, and that is where most people misread the whole thing. He is cheap almost nowhere that shows, and generous almost everywhere that actually counts. He will pay for a good mattress without blinking, a real doctor instead of the cheapest one, a plumber who does the job right the first time, a plane ticket home whenever his mother needs him there. The gap discipline was never about deprivation. It was about refusing to let the visible things get more expensive, just because he could technically afford it now. He upgrades what actually changes his life, and quietly ignores whatever only changes how his life looks from the outside. That refusal has a cost, and it does not show up on a bank statement. It shows up in how people look at you. You become the one who kept the old car while everyone else traded up, the one who says the modest apartment is fine, the one who never has the thing everyone else just financed. People notice. A cousin quietly decides you must be struggling. Somebody makes the joke that is really a question. You sit there knowing the truth and saying nothing, because there is nothing you could say that would not sound like bragging or lying. That quiet, unspoken cost is the real price of the gap discipline, and it is not paid in dollars, it is paid at dinners and reunions, year after year, and most people simply cannot afford to pay it. The fear of looking like you are falling behind is stronger, for most people, than the wish to actually get ahead. Underneath the car and the modest apartment, there is one trait about Marcus almost nobody around him can copy, and it has nothing to do with discipline. He genuinely does not need anyone to notice what he has. Not as a performance, not as something he is still working on. He simply stopped keeping that scoreboard a long time ago and mostly forgets it exists. And here is what that freedom is worth in plain numbers. The moment you stop needing to perform, an enormous amount of spending just quietly disappears on its own. The upgrade you bought so someone would notice. The round you covered so you would look generous. The outfit for the one night you saw those people and never again. Whitfield Money calls that whole category the audience tax, because that is exactly what it is. A tax paid to an audience that was never really watching, based on their imagined opinion of a choice most of them could not actually afford to judge you for. If you are not subscribed yet, this is a good time. New videos on exactly this kind of thing every week. So if the gap discipline is this powerful, why does almost nobody keep it long enough for it to matter? Because it is hardest to hold at the exact moment it finally pays. Two people got hired into the same company the same week, same job, same starting salary. Call them Grant and Dale. Grant celebrated the new job the way you are supposed to. He leased a car that matched the title, signed for the apartment that stretched him to the edge, upgraded everything right on schedule. For a couple of years, at every office happy hour, Grant genuinely looked like the one who was winning. Dale kept driving the car he already owned and quietly routed a fifth of every paycheck into an account before the money ever touched his checking balance. For those same couple of years, Dale looked like the one who never quite arrived. Then, on one ordinary Tuesday, a bad quarter turned into a reorganization, and Grant and Dale got the same envelope on the same desk. Same layoff, same severance. And in that single moment, years of an invisible difference became the only thing that mattered. Grant had almost nothing saved and a stack of payments that did not pause, just because his income did. Within 3 weeks, he took the first job that called, on someone else's terms. because his obligations never once stopped asking how he was doing. Dale had what Whitfield money calls the month count, enough runway to breathe for close to a year without a paycheck. He turned down 2 offers that were not right and accepted the one that was, entirely on his own timeline. Same salary the whole way through. The only real difference was what each of them had done, quietly, with the gap between what they earned and what they let themselves spend. That difference has its own name too. Call it the option count, the number of real decisions you get to make from a position of strength instead of fear. Grant's option count on the day of that envelope was close to 0. Dale's option count was the entire reason he did not panic. If you want us to walk through a version of this closer to your own numbers in a future video, drop it in the comments. It genuinely shapes what gets made next. The biggest thing Marcus is building, he will probably never see finished, because it does not arrive in his own lifetime. Picture 2 children at 2 different dinner tables. At one table, money is a tense, quiet subject, the thing parents argue about in low voices after the kids are supposed to be asleep. That child learns, without a single lesson, that money is fear, and that the way you prove you are okay is by buying something other people can see. At the other table, the car is paid off, a raise gets invested instead of announced, and nobody flinches when the subject of money comes up, because there is nothing there to hide. That child grows up watching 2 adults who are simply not afraid, and starts their whole life from a place the first child will spend decades trying to reach. Whitfield money calls that the inheritance of calm, because that is what it actually is, and it costs nothing to give, and takes an entire adult life of the gap discipline to build. If you want to start building the same thing, you do not need to change your whole life this week. You need one decision, repeated. The next time your income goes up, freeze your spending exactly where it is before the raise ever gets the chance to feel normal, and send the entire difference somewhere it can grow. That single held decision, made every time your number goes up, is the whole habit. Everything else is just what it looks like from the outside. Tomorrow morning, Marcus is going to park that same car in that same lot and walk past people who quietly assume he is still figuring it out. He is going to eat the lunch he packed and let every one of them keep believing whatever story makes sense to them. And he is going to be, by a distance none of them can imagine, the freest person in that building. Here is the only question that actually matters. When your income goes up, does your life quietly rise to meet it, or does it hold still while the gap underneath it grows? Almost everyone says they would choose the second option. Almost nobody does. The world will keep telling you the upgrade is the reward, that the new thing is what arriving finally looks like, that living below what you could technically spend is something you eventually outgrow. It might be the most expensive advice most people ever take, without questioning it once. If any of this helped make sense of something you have been circling for a while, send it to someone who is about to get a raise. It might be the most useful thing you share with them all year. The people performing wealth and the people quietly building it can look identical from a distance. And that is exactly how the ones actually building it prefer it. Protect the gap. Keep the freeze point. Let everyone else believe whatever they want. Boring, it turns out, was the whole strategy the entire time.